Tom Brady and Gisele Bundchen announcing their divorce is now final, ending 13 years of marriage. What both of them said today and what Brady said this week about finishing out this season.
Was any of it worth it? As Tom Brady watches Gisele build a new life, he's left to confront the one loss he can never come back from, a loss far more personal than anything he's faced on the field. The greatest winner in NFL history chose football over everything, and now he must reckon with the consequences of that decision. But for Gisele, it's a different story. She's finally found the life and happiness she always wanted. Meanwhile, Brady struggles to make sense of what he has and what he's lost. Tom Brady, a man who conquered every challenge on the football field, has now faced the one he couldn't overcome, his marriage. After 13 years, his divorce from Gisele Bundchen is final. A marriage that once seemed impenetrable has come to an end, and the public reaction has been swift. But there's more to this story than just the headlines. On December 20th, 2025, while the world was reeling from the news that Gisele had married her jiu-jitsu instructor, Brady shared something that seemed to speak volumes. In a cryptic Instagram post, he shared a song, 1-800-273-8255, the number for the National Mental Health Crisis Hotline. The lyrics said, "I feel like my life is not mine." Here's a man with 7 Super Bowl rings, more money than he could spend in 10 lifetimes, and a legacy cemented in the annals of football history. Yet it's clear that none of that could save him from the devastation of losing the one thing that truly mattered to him, his family. This wasn't just a game he lost, it was everything. At 48, Brady is finally facing the truth, and it's a brutal one. This week, as the world learned of Gisele's secret wedding, Brady's post only deepened the mystery. Was he in pain, defiance, or trying to keep up appearances? His actions suggest a man caught in a whirlwind of emotions, unable to hold on to the one thing that mattered more than any football game, his family. But Brady had been warned long before this heartbreak. Back in 2020, during a conversation with Howard Stern, Brady opened up about a letter Gisele had written him. It wasn't a love letter, it was a wake-up call. Gisele had told him flat out that she wasn't satisfied with their marriage. She revealed how she felt like a single mother raising their children alone while he was consumed by his career. His life, dominated by early morning workouts, endless film sessions, road games, and business deals, left no room for the family he had promised to cherish. Gisele had sacrificed her own dreams to support his, walking away from her modeling career at its peak, moving her life across the country and giving everything for him. Yet Brady's success had come at a cost Gisele had paid in silence for far too long. This wasn't just about football. It was about a life unbalanced, about dreams deferred, about a woman who had given everything for her family but felt left behind. Brady's response to the letter was a painful admission of truth, a truth he couldn't ignore anymore.
The term manage the game is a negative. I think it's the greatest compliment you can give a quarterback because...
And now, as Gisele moves on with her life, Brady is left to reflect on everything he sacrificed and lost. His story isn't just one of football glory, but a tale of a man who couldn't see what truly mattered until it was too late. Brady admitted to Howard Stern that he still keeps that letter Gisele wrote in a drawer, reading it from time to time. It serves as a painful reminder of what he almost lost. But here's the thing, he didn't almost lose it. He did lose it. Because despite reading that letter, attending marriage counseling, and promising to change, Brady made a choice that would prove every word Gisele wrote to be true. And that decision would cost him his marriage forever. The moment everything began to unravel was a betrayal that lasted 40 days. On February 1st, 2022, after 22 seasons and 7 Super Bowl rings, Tom Brady announced his retirement from football at the age of 44. He said it was time to focus on other things that needed his attention, and Gisele was elated. She posted a celebratory message on Instagram, filled with excitement about their next chapter together. After years of waiting, after the painful letter, after all the therapy and hard conversations, her husband was finally choosing his family. It felt like a new beginning, one that would last exactly 40 days. On March 13, 2022, Brady stunned the world by announcing he was returning to football. The sports world gasped. He declared that he realized his place was still on the field, not in the stands. But what about his place at home? What about the promises he made to his wife? Sources close to Gisele revealed that she was blindsided by this decision. It wasn't just about football, it was about trust. They had discussed his retirement together, made plans as a couple, and Brady had agreed that his career would come second. But he chose his desires over their shared agreement, proving Gisele's words to be more than just complaints, they were the truth. One insider revealed the heartbreaking truth. Gisele felt like Tom had chosen his career over his family, and she was tired of it. Another source added that she didn't hate that he played football, but she hated how he handled the retirement and his return. The damage was done. The 2022 season, which should have been a victory lap for the greatest quarterback in history, became a public tragedy. By August, Brady took an 11-day leave from training camp for personal reasons. No details were shared, but everyone could guess. By September, it was reported that Tom and Gisele were living in separate homes, and the fight that followed was so intense that divorce lawyers were involved. His former assistant coach, Tom Moore, later recounted what he witnessed during this time. What he saw in the locker room was a man falling apart. The man who was once known for his ironclad fitness and perfect diet was now losing weight at an alarming rate. He dropped nearly 20 pounds. His face became gaunt, hollow, his competitive fire fading. Moore described one moment that stayed with him. After a particularly difficult game, Brady walked back into the locker room and did something no one had ever seen. Still in full uniform, he sat down, placed his head between his legs, and didn't move for 20 minutes. He didn't speak to anyone, he didn't change clothes, he didn't acknowledge his coaches or teammates. He sat there frozen, a broken man in shoulder pads, the weight of everything bearing down on him. This wasn't the confident leader the world knew. This was a man realizing that his entire world was collapsing, and he might have been the one to destroy it. The public was watching the marriage fall apart in real time. Photographers captured Gisele without her wedding ring. The couple hadn't been seen together in weeks, and every tabloid ran stories about what went wrong. Brady tried to address it on his podcast, speaking vaguely about life challenges and admitting that football was taking everything out of him. But he couldn't say what everyone already knew. He was watching his family slip away, and there was nothing he could do to stop it. By October 28, 2022, the divorce became official. Tom Brady and Gisele Bündchen ended their 13-year marriage. The paperwork was filed and finalized on the same day thanks to a prenup and prearranged custody. Both released statements about putting their children first. Brady called the situation painful and difficult, but neither he nor Gisele revealed the real reasons behind the split. That would come later when Gisele chose to tell her side of the story. And what she said would change everything people thought they knew about their relationship. The death of a dream. In March 2023, Gisele Bundchen appeared on the cover of Vanity Fair for her first major interview since the divorce. She had something important to say, and she wasn't holding back. First, she obliterated the biggest rumor that had followed her for months, the one about her giving Tom an ultimatum, football or me, choose right now. Gisele called this story the craziest thing she had ever heard. She said it was incredibly hurtful that people believed she would do something like that. She never demanded that Tom retire. That was not the truth. The real reason for their separation was simpler but also deeper. Gisele explained that when they met, she was 26 and he was 29. They both wanted the same things, a family, a life together. But as the years passed, they realized they wanted different things from life. It wasn't one moment that ended everything. It was years of growing apart until they could no longer recognize each other. But then, Gisele said something that cut deeper than anything about football. When asked about rumors that she cheated on Tom with Hakeem Valent, her jiu-jitsu instructor boyfriend, she got angry. She firmly denied it. This is something that happens to a lot of women who get blamed when they have the courage to leave an unhealthy relationship. She called her marriage to Tom Brady unhealthy. In another interview with Robin Roberts, she became emotional as she discussed the divorce. She called it the death of a dream. She had to stop and compose herself before continuing. This wasn't a woman walking away without caring. This was someone mourning a future that would never come to pass. She had supported Tom through 7 Super Bowls, cheered for him even when it hurt her, and rebuilt her life again and again around his career. Every time he needed to move, she packed up and followed. Every time he needed space, she gave it to him. In the end, she felt she had no choice but to leave. Not because she stopped loving him, but because she finally loved herself enough to walk away from something that was slowly breaking her. She told Vanity Fair that if there's one person she wants to be the happiest in the world, it's Tom. She wanted all of his dreams to come true. Even after everything, she still wished him well. That, in a nutshell, tells you everything about who Gisele is as a person. But now, Gisele was building a new dream of her own, one of peace and quiet, with a man who made her feel seen. When that new life became public, Tom Brady would crack in ways nobody expected. The roast that destroyed him. In May 2024, Tom Brady agreed to participate in something that seemed harmless and fun, a Netflix roast special where comedians would take jabs at him. Celebrities do this all the time. You sit there, you laugh along while people mock you, it shows you're a good sport. It became the biggest mistake of his life after football. One comedian after another took the stage, tearing into Brady. They mocked his divorce, they joked about Gisele leaving him for a jiu-jitsu instructor. They made crude jokes about his family situation, all while millions of people watched. Brady sat there and laughed along. What else could he do? He had agreed to it. But the next morning, everything changed. When Brady called his 3 children the day after the roast, he heard something that broke him. Jack Mohan, who is 17, Benjamin, 15, and Vivian, 12, were confused and hurt. They had seen clips from the show. They had heard strangers turn their family pain into punchlines. His kids asked him directly, "What was the point of that? Why did you do that, Dad?" Brady had no answer. How do you explain to your children that you sat there while strangers made jokes about your family falling apart? How do you tell them you thought it would be fine when clearly it was not? The man who always had a game plan for everything had no words for his own kids. Months later on a podcast, he finally admitted the truth. He said that talking to his kids the next day felt like a stake through the heart. Those words, coming from Tom Brady, meant everything. This was a man who never admits weakness, never shows vulnerability. And here he was, confessing to the whole world that he had hurt his own children. He later apologized to Gisele personally for allowing those jokes about her, but the damage was done. The roast forced Brady to face something he had avoided for years, the true cost of his choices. He had missed 23 years of Christmas mornings. He had never spent a real Thanksgiving with his family. He had treated every NFL season like a military deployment, asking his wife and kids to sacrifice everything. Now, retired and watching his own decisions blow up in his face, Brady started asking himself a question he had never allowed before. Was any of it worth it? Meanwhile, Gisele was building exactly the life she had always dreamed of, and soon she would give Tom Brady the final answer to whether their marriage could ever be repaired. The baby, the wedding, and Brady's response. February 2025 brought news that stunned everyone following this story. At 44 years old, Gisele had welcomed a baby boy with Hakeem Valent, her jiu-jitsu instructor boyfriend. It was her third child, but her first with someone other than Tom Brady. Gisele had started a completely new family. Then came December 3, 2025. In a private ceremony at their home in Surfside, Florida, Gisele married Hakeem. This wedding represented everything. Her marriage to Brady was not quiet, intimate, and focused entirely on family instead of fame. What made it even more complicated was that Brady knew about the wedding before it happened. He wasn't blindsided. He had time to prepare himself for this moment, the official end of any hope that he and Gisele might ever find their way back to each other. The contrast between them could not have been more obvious. Gisele had found what she called an honest and transparent relationship. She had a new baby, a new husband, a new life focused on wellness, family, and being present. Brady, on the other hand, was calling NFL games for Fox, posting cryptic messages on social media, reportedly dating supermodel Irina Shayk on and off, still searching for something. 2 days after the wedding news broke, he was back on television analyzing football as if his personal life was not making headlines everywhere. Professional as always on the outside. But something was changing inside Tom Brady, something that would finally lead him to admit what he had been running from for over 20 years. The admission that changes everything. At 48 years old, Tom Brady finally stopped running from the truth. In a newsletter to his fans earlier this year, Brady tried to explain himself not as a quarterback but as a father and husband. The letter was defensive, almost pleading. He wrote that part of being a great father was being a great example of doing whatever it takes to take care of your family. He chose to do it by playing football. He said his dedication to the sport, the hours of practice, and the laser focus were actually the best things he could do for his family. He was teaching by example, showing his children what commitment looks like, demonstrating what it takes to be great at your job. But then came the admission that revealed the cracks in his confidence. He wrote, "You will not be perfect, nobody is, you will fail and disappoint people along the way." For a man who built his entire career on refusing to accept failure, these words meant everything. Tom Brady was admitting he failed. He wrote that your actions reflect your priorities. That is what you need to live up to every day. And there it is, the confession hidden in plain sight. Tom Brady's actions showed his priorities. Football came first always. Even when his wife begged him to change, even when she wrote him a letter spelling out exactly what would happen if he didn't, he made his choice. And now he lives with it. Gisele has moved on completely. She has a new husband who was her friend first. She has a new baby. She's building the family-centered life she always dreamed about. She holds no public anger toward Brady. She only wishes him happiness. Brady is still figuring things out, still trying to convince himself and everyone else that the trade was worth it. 7 Super Bowl rings sit in a case somewhere. His name will live forever in football history. His bank account holds more than $500 million, but his ex-wife just married another man. His children asked him why he let strangers mock their family on television, and he sits alone, sometimes posting songs about feeling like his life doesn't belong to him. The greatest winner in NFL history is facing the one loss he can never come back from. Tom Brady chose football. He chose the championships, the fame, and the glory. He chose to miss every Christmas for 23 years. He chose to unretire after 40 days. Even though his wife finally believed he was choosing her, he thought he could have it all, the greatest career in NFL history and the perfect family waiting at home. But life doesn't work that way. Something has to give. And in the end, it was his marriage that broke. Now he watches Gisele build a beautiful new life while he searches for something to fill the empty space. She wakes up next to a man who puts her first. She has a new baby to love. She has the peace she was looking for all along. And Tom Brady has his memories, his trophies, and his records that may never be broken. Some victories come with a price you don't understand until years later. Tom Brady understands now. He sees clearly what he could not see when he was chasing one more championship, one more perfect season, one more chance to prove he was the greatest. He proved it. Nobody will ever question his legacy on the football field. What are your thoughts on Brady's confession? Share your thoughts in the comments and don't forget to like and subscribe.